Is this entire episode going to be me dragging John Walker? Who knows? Stay tuned. Hi, my name is Ella. Welcome back to another video of me discussing Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We will be discussing episode 4, The Whole World is Watching. So if you haven't watched that episode just yet, go ahead and pause my video, go run and watch that, and then come back and join me. I feel like I really could spend this entire 15 to 20 minutes dragging John Walker and talking about everything that I hate about him, but I'm really going to try hard not to. I think this episode I will kind of go in like episode format as opposed to just talking about the characters, but it is mostly still going to be talking about the characters because I feel like that's kind of what's making this show right now, because I personally feel like there's not really a plot to this show. They've got so many different storylines going on right now, and we have 2 episodes left, and I have no idea where they're exactly going with this, other than killing Carly maybe, or killing Captain America, John Walker maybe. So I don't know. I don't know what the plot of this show is supposed to be right now, other than showing us what it's like after the blip. So we're gonna focus on the characters. Let me just get Zemo out of the way because I feel like he's the least that I really have anything to say about, but I'm still kind of shocked that he fits so well into the dynamic of Sam and Bucky. He's kind of funny. He's really funny. There were several moments in this episode when he was kind of poking a little fun at Sam, being like, your TT would be proud of you. That was kind of funny. That whole conversation was funny. But then what really got me later on in the episode was when the Dora Milaje showed up and they were fighting John Walker and he was just sitting there sipping his drink. Beautiful. Comedic genius. I loved it. I still don't know that we can trust Zemo. Obviously, he's still trying to keep some secrets from Sam and Bucky, and that may come back to bite them in the butts later on in this show, but he's been helpful. I can't argue that. I know I was kind of iffy about the idea of Sam and Bucky teaming up with him to get the information they wanted, but he has been proving to be useful, and I'm interested to see, with the way that this episode played out, what's going to happen with him in the next 2 episodes. Sharon was back in this episode very minimally. I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about her now, but she also is being very helpful, and I really do hope that we get to see her, you know, kind of get pardoned and everything and kind of like get a better lot in life after this all boils down, whatever this ends up being. With Sam and Bucky and the Flag Smashers and everything. So I really hope that she gets to come back to America and, you know, kind of be happy and like live life how she wants to, because I feel like she definitely deserves that. I don't know how we're gonna get there. I think I'm gonna talk about Carly next, mostly because I feel like as far as with her and Sam and Bucky and John Walker, she's the one that I guess I have the least to say, but more than Sharon and Zemo, so I'll talk about her next. I think she's bitten off more than she can chew. Like, I understand where she's coming from. I get it. It makes sense. I'm sure that the writers and the directors and everyone working on the show kind of wants us to understand that yes, she has a point, but I feel like she's going about it in the completely wrong way, like Sam says. I think she's gotten a little out of control. I think she might even be becoming the very person that she's trying to stand up against. Obviously, she's smart. She knows what she's doing. She knows what she's talking about. But she also pulls a lot of moves that are very terroristy. Like in the last episode, she blew up that GRC. And then in this episode, she calls Sam's sister and threatens her and the kids. So it's like she's doing these very bad things, these very terroristy things, but I think she's so blinded by the idea that what she thinks she's doing is good that she can't see that she's doing the wrong things to get there. I really appreciated that Sam was the one that got to kind of sit down and talk with her, and I really wish that that had had a happy ending, but John Walker had to ruin it, but we'll get to him later. But I think as far as bad guys go, Carly is very relatable. Like, no one would want to have all of these freedoms that you've never been able to have before, because there are borders and armies and police and all this kind of stuff that are telling you that you can't go here or you can't do this. And then everyone that disappeared comes back and you're right back to square one, and it's like you got a taste of freedom and now you can't have that anymore. So like, I get it. I get where Carly is coming from 100%. I don't think her means justify the ends, to put it in a phrase that they've been using in the show very often. Her means don't justify her ends. I also feel like she's kind of been introduced as like a foil to the original Captain America, and they've made that comparison intentionally and unintentionally in this show. They've kind of compared how Steve and Carly are on like opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to having taken the serum. I really liked the comment they made about how Carly saw the shield as something kind of bad, and how it's like something that heroes are hiding behind. And I thought that related really well to Bucky's comment a few episodes back, where he said that the shield means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and how the shield, while Bucky may have always seen it as something good, and while Cap may have always seen it as something good, to others it's a form of suppression. Sam and Bucky in this episode, like I predicted in my last video, are getting along a lot better. They still have their moments where they're kind of like low-key at each other's throats, like when Bucky made the comment about he knows crazy because he is crazy, and Sam was like, that's true. Like, they still have their little quips, but then at the same time, like, Bucky was not gonna let Sam approach Carly by himself, and Sam was very protective over Bucky when it came to Zemo. So like, they're getting it sorted out, whether they realize it or not. And I can't wait to see how their dynamic flourishes by the time we get to the end of this season. They're both just so good. And Sam in this episode particularly, I mentioned this a little bit when I was talking about Carly, but I really appreciate that he's kind of stepping into the shadow or the shoes, however you want to phrase it. He's really stepping up and becoming what Cap already knows he is. And I think that's really going to play a part in how the rest of the show plays out. I really hope that this does end in Sam actually becoming Captain America, because 1, he deserves it. 2, Cap thinks he deserved it. And 3, it's just time. It's time. We need Sam to be Captain America in the MCU right now. We need it. But yeah, his whole conversation with Carly was just so good, and I think it was really important that he got to sit down and talk with her, you know, kind of one-on-one without anyone getting in the way. But I do wish that we had been able to see that conversation kind of come to fruition and not get stopped in its tracks. So I'm hoping that we get another chance, because we did get a second kind of chance at the end of this episode, but I'm hoping we have another chance in the next episode or the finale where Sam really gets to sit down with Carly and be like, look, you're becoming the very kind of person that you're fighting against, and that's not okay. Let's get you on the right track, or give something along those lines. Yeah, lots of good things happening with Sam, and I hope we really get to see a lot more good things. I really want Sam to be Captain America. Like, we got teased with it at the end of Endgame, and we thought that that's basically what the show was going to be, was him being Captain America, and it hasn't been, so maybe the show can end in him stepping into his role as Captain America. I really hope that that's what happens. And Bucky, first of all, can I just say, I wasn't expecting to cry, like, right off the bat with this episode. So that wounded me. But, like, I'm also glad that we got to kind of see, you know, the first time that the Winter Soldier trigger words didn't work on him. Because I think that's important to him becoming who he is now and, like, fighting against everything that's happened to him since he fell off the train. And so, just, I don't know, it was just seeing him get emotional about not being under the restraints of being the Winter Soldier was just really, really moving. And even though I cried, I'm really glad that we got to see that little moment. I think it also kind of showed us how Wakanda is such a big part of Bucky becoming better and everything too, which is also important because I feel like maybe somehow this show, or maybe even just Bucky himself, is going to tie into Black Panther 2. I don't know if he should, but I'm just saying that this kind of leaves that open for some kind of connection, even if it's just like a mention or anything like that. Like maybe they mention the events that happen in Riga in the show in Black Panther 2. So it'll be interesting to see if anything that happened in the show with the Dora Milaje or with Bucky or anything like that is kind of discussed in Black Panther 2. But Bucky, I don't want to say he's getting like the short end of the stick in this show, because he is getting some character development, but I do worry that they're kind of backtracking the character development that he's had already, if that makes sense. Like the whole first episode was him supposed to not being the Winter Soldier anymore and making amends without using violence and stuff like that. And I feel like every episode since then, Bucky has had to use violence to get out of situations, or like at the Princess Bar, he had to pretend to be the Winter Soldier, and goodness knows that probably wasn't very good for his psyche. So it's just like yes, he's getting character development, but it's like new character development at the cost of his old character development, and I really just don't want to see Bucky like regress, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's time to talk about John Walker. Let me just get this out of the way. I hate this man. I hate him. I hate him. When Carly suggested that their next move was going to be kill Captain America, I was like, that is an idea that I personally can get behind. I don't like John Walker one bit. He's cocky, he's full of himself, he makes rash decisions in battle, he doesn't know what he's doing, he doesn't think before he acts, he doesn't think before he speaks. And we saw several times in this episode, and in previous episodes, that is extremely detrimental to what is trying to be done. Like, it's detrimental to Sam and Bucky. It's detrimental to trying to get Carly to do good or be better, or however they're gonna handle Carly. It's just John Walker. I don't even have words to express how much I dislike this man. Like, I do not like him. I do not want him to be in anything past this series. And I'm kind of hoping that the end of this episode was, you know, proof that he's not really gonna make it past this, because like there's no getting past what he did. He was dressed as Captain America. He had the shield, and he used the shield to kill, as far as everyone watching was aware, an innocent person. And that's just, Captain America doesn't kill. Like, obviously, like, he's in fights and stuff like that, and he, like, fought the Nazis in Captain America, the First Avenger, and he's obviously fought Thanos and all these other bad guys. So, like, I'm not saying that Cap isn't violent, or that he doesn't, do things that others would perceive as bad, but he certainly doesn't kill people with his own shield. And John Walker, Captain America, just did that in broad daylight in front of everyone with hundreds of cameras on him. So, like, that's bad. It's bad. There's no other word for it. It's bad. And I hope he gets punished for it. He probably won't, because he's a white boy, and white boys never get punished for doing anything wrong. But I feel like in a scenario like this, though, there's like no way that he can talk himself out of this. Like, there's literally dozens, if not hundreds, of cameras on him that filmed him killing this person, and that's probably going to lead to the entire world seeing what just happened. And I feel like if the government's whole thing was to have a new hero for everyone to look up to, they can't justify their new shiny new hero murdering someone in broad daylight with the shield that is supposed to be such an important symbol to heroism and stuff like that. So I don't know. I hope by the end of this show that John Walker is killed or arrested or something, because that man is dangerous and I don't like him. But more importantly, he's dangerous. And, like, I understand that he had, like, that breaking point with Lamar Hoskins being killed, but also, like, that was his fault. That was John Walker's fault. If he hadn't been rash, and if he hadn't picked up the serum and decided, this is a good idea, I'm gonna take the serum. Like, if John Walker made a series of terrible decisions that led to Lamar Hoskins being killed. And it's really just tragic, because right before that happened, Lamar Hoskins had that whole conversation with him about, oh, you consistently make the right choices in battle. That man never made a single correct decision in any battle that we've seen him in. So, you can't convince me in any way that John Walker is supposed to be a good guy. I think he was good at what he was supposed to be doing in Afghanistan, at war, everything that he was trained to do, but I don't think that he is a good person. And I think that is why the serum made him worse, because he was already bad, and then that just accentuated it. Just like Lamar Hoskins said, power makes people more themselves. If John Walker was already a bad guy, taking the serum made him an even worse guy, and he killed a person in broad daylight where everyone could see. Okay, I can't. I don't want to talk about John Walker anymore. I'm done. I hate him. I'm done. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, I really have no idea where this show is going. There are so many plot lines. There's the plot line with Carly. There's the plot line with Sam and his sister. There's Sharon's whole plot line. We've got to figure out what they're going to do with Zemo. We've got to figure out what's going to happen with John Walker. There's so many plot lines going on. And I feel like WandaVision kind of had the same problem. They had all of these separate little plot lines that were going on, and then none of them kind of really got situated. Like, we never really got a resolution for a lot of them. It was just kind of like left hanging. And I'm worried that that's going to happen with this show as well. Especially because it's shorter. We only have 2 episodes left, and I have seen nothing indicative of what the big showdown is going to be. I'm assuming it's going to be with Carly, but I don't know if it's going to be with John Walker. Is it going to be between Sam and Bucky and Carly? Is Zemo going to have a bigger part in it? Is it going to be Sam and Bucky versus Zemo versus Carly? I don't know what's going to happen. And it's a little frustrating because by now we should have some idea of what's going to happen, and we don't. We have a bunch of possible plot points that could or could not be important, but we don't have any definitive, this is what the main plot of this show is. And it's stressful. There's only 2 episodes left. That's basically 2 hours, which, I mean, I guess technically is the length of a Marvel movie. But I don't know. I've given this show my attention, and it has been entertaining to some degree, but I'm not like sold on it like I was with WandaVision, and I'm not sold on it like I already know I'm gonna be with Loki. This is just kind of, I'm watching it because I know it's going to be important to future movies and future shows, but it's not like grabbing me the way that WandaVision did, and I'm a little bummed about that because I was hoping that this one was going to be a good show as well, and it's not the same caliber. I guess that'll about do it for this episode. If you have any questions, ideas, theories where you think this show is going to go, because I clearly have none, drop a comment down below. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and if you'd like to be notified of when I post a new video, go ahead and click that little bell icon somewhere down there. If you watch me for Marvel, I will be back next Friday with an episode 5 discussion for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and if you watch me for my regular videos, I will be back on Wednesday with a video talking about my new job at GoPuff. With all that out of the way, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Bye!